Hello, Aladdin, the musical blog. This is Monroe Iglehart, original Genie here, and I am so glad to be a part of this wonderful, anniversary. And I just want to tell you, listen, when I think about Seattle, I have too many amazing memories, too many. But I'll just, mention a couple. I think one of my favorite memories was the first time we all got to see each other in costume. We did like this parade on the stage at the Fifth Avenue, and all of the ladies walked out, all of the guys walked out, and then out walked Jonathan Freeman dressed as Jafar. We were just like, it was so cool. And there's a picture somewhere, I think on Facebook, of Don Darryl and I just standing together, just like gawking at everything. And I looked at my costume and it was, the blue and the red sash. I just kind of lost my mind. It was like, I'm the Genie. And Don Darryl and I just kind of looked at each other like, Iago, Genie, this is going to be great. Also, one of my favorite memories was the first reading when we all sat down in the rehearsal room of the Fifth Avenue and read Aladdin. And again, it's Jonathan Freeman. So we're all reading. This is before Broadway, so I wasn't the first thing you saw. It was actually the three friends, Babkak, Omar, and Kassim. And so I'm waiting, and we get to Jafar's part. And Jafar's part, he says, "Oh, Iago," and the whole room screamed. And Jonathan didn't understand. He was like, "What? Did I do something wrong?" They were like, "No, you're Jafar." It was we all of us went back to our childhood. It was one of the coolest moments ever. I think Seattle really meant a lot to us because that's where we built it. That's where we saw that the ingredients, we had all the ingredients to make a great show. I think we had a good meal. I don't think we had the gourmet meal we had, when we got to Broadway, or even the pretty good meal that we had when we got to Toronto. But we knew we had something. And the audience let us know we had something. But that first reading let us know, okay, we got all the ingredients to make something great. Now we just got to put it together. And it was just so much fun. I mean, we were all experimenting. We were all trying things new. And I think that's what I loved about it. Plus, Seattle is just a magnificent town. I have done 2 shows there, Memphis as well as Aladdin, and I have loved it every single time. I would go back to Seattle, Washington, and to do something at the Fifth Avenue anytime they ask. I love the Fifth Avenue. So happy anniversary, Aladdin, the Broadway blog. And I thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Oh my goodness, 10 years of Aladdin. That's insane. Hello everyone, my name is Brian Gonzales. I originated the role of Babkak in Disney's Aladdin back in Seattle and all the way through Broadway. I've been playing the role up until right before the pandemic when my contract ended, and I decided to move forward. Well, I technically aged out of the role, so I'm moving forward from that. But some of the memories I've had through all of my years in Aladdin have been very special to me, and Seattle was one of my favorite musical theater experiences, if not theater experiences in general, of my career. I met some wonderful people and some lifelong friends, and the amount of laughter, we sort of laughed unchecked for weeks at a time doing that show. The comedians in that room, both writers, Chad Beglin, who was one of the smartest and funniest writers I know, and then of course Casey Nicola and Alan Menken and all of these remarkable people. Then I got to work with that remarkable cast: Monroe Iglehart, Darryl Rivera, Adam Jacobs, Courtney Reed, the great Sean Griffin, all of those wonderful people, and of course the one, the only Jonathan Freeman as Jafar, the original Jafar. And then of course, closest to my heart, I got to work with 2 of my favorite people, Andrew Keenan Bolger and Brandon O'Neill, as Omar and Kassim, Babkak, Omar, and Kassim, the trio. That's who we were, and we were quite the trio off stage as well. We were brothers. It was a wonderful time, and we made each other laugh a lot, and we got to explore all kinds of wonderful comedy. One of the things that I had always cherished about that experience is how much between Casey and Disney and Chad Beglin and Menken and all of those creatives, that they let us explore many things about our characters to come up with comedic bits and one-liners and stuff all of our own, thereby helping sort of develop the characters. And they were all wise enough to know anything that we came up with that was worth keeping. They were kind enough to keep, but 9 times out of 10, Chad could throw us something right back at us that we didn't even think of, that was funnier than what we could have thought of. So it was a wonderful collaborative experience, a rare one, and I was always grateful for that. And of course, as I said, working with that wonderful cast, which leads me to a couple of stories that you can use any of these or none if you'd like, Chris. But I remember the first read through was a really special time. First of all, you had James Monroe Iglehart coming in as the genie, and when we all were going around the table talking about who we were and who we were playing. Of course, James Monroe Iglehart, being who he is, went, "My name is James Monroe Iglehart, and I'm playing the Genie," and stood up, and everyone cheered and all this kind of stuff. James has the capability of doing something like that and having it be obvious that it is about joy and it is about gratitude and it is about dreams coming true, because that was a dream come true role for him. And coming out of anybody else, that might have been obnoxious, but coming out of James, there was a victory and a joy and a gratitude, as I said, and it was a really wonderful moment. So later we get through the read through and we get through the first scene with Iago and Jafar, which is Jonathan Freeman and Darryl Rivera. And Darryl was brilliant as Iago. And they get to their first scene together, and he starts his scene, and he goes, boss, we've got big trouble. And of course, Jonathan Freeman, in that voice of his, goes, "What is it, Iago?" And Darryl just couldn't help it. He just broke character completely. He just went, and it was such an infectious feeling of, oh my goodness, we're here, and that's the Jafar, and we're working on Aladdin, and we all loved this movie, and we're doing a brand new Disney thing, and there was something very exciting about that, and it was a wonderful moment in the reading, and there were lots of funny moments that happened through the thing. There was a song called "Royal Wedding," led by Sean Griffin as the Sultan, that used to happen before the big finale and all this kind of stuff. Such a royal wedding, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I remember the day we decided that song was no longer in the show, but we went ahead and ran that scene one last time because they had made changes to the things coming out of it to see how it flowed into the next scene. And so we knew we would be running that song the very last time. And so Brandon O'Neill and Andrew Keenan Bolger and I got up to sing our part, such a royal wedding. And of course, us being us, we went, "We're going to cut the royal wedding." And it was one of my favorite things because we all just thought it was a blast. And to watch Alan Menken kind of fall sideways at the table was a great moment, because he thought that was funny, and it was a great release for all of us because we'd been working hard on that song and then we were cutting it. Some other things that were wonderful about that show, that magic carpet. As you know, we perfected the magic carpet, or they perfected it, shall we say. We witnessed them perfecting it for the Broadway run, and it is still one of the great sights that you can see on Broadway. But we had to work with what we had to work with in Seattle, because we were experimenting with the show and trying different things. And the original magic carpet was what we called the mattress on a stick, and it was a mattress with fringe and decoration on it on one of those hydraulic lifts that you like you go to the mechanic and see when they lift your car up and work underneath. And so they'd be singing, and they would go, "A whole new world," and it still worked for what we were trying to do, but those of us that knew what it was, we couldn't help but laugh a little bit at it. And then they would try to do some things where it would kind of tilt or do a different direction. And a strange, fantastic point of, and so that was fascinating, and I still laugh thinking about it. But as I said, people were still sort of taken up in the idea that they were seeing a whole new world live on stage, and even if it was an early incarnation of it, they knew they were on their way to seeing something special. So that was great. And of course, in that same number, you had people in front of the pole with lights on sticks dancing around it, going, "Don't look at the pole, don't look at the pole, don't look at the pole." So that's one of my other favorite memories. And then, of course, the first time we ever did, they ever did, I was always very grateful I didn't have to do my favorite, A Friend Like Me. I could just watch it and revel in its splendor. But I remember the first time they did it in front of a paying audience, and I mean, the crowd just went nuts. And it was a really wonderful moment, because there was an element of, oh my goodness, we're here, and we did it, and we survived it. And not only did we just survive it, we did the number well, and they're going to like this. And James is extraordinary, and James got, a dream come true of performing this number as this character in front of all these people. So that was a truly wonderful moment. And then, of course, when the trio got to do this slam bang sword fight number, High Adventure, and it was a wonderful way to bring some more of the music that Menken and Ashman had done together that did not get to be in the movie, and we got to do it in style and with excitement, and the crowd loved it, and there were just wonderful moments and shadows of the things to come, shall we say. and it really makes it a very special place in my heart. And it is one of my favorite experiences, one of my favorite memories of a theatrical job that I have. So, and I am so grateful for you including me in this. Chris, let me know if there's more I can tell, or if I didn't tell enough, or if I told way too much. But please feel free to use what you do or don't want. Again, thank you for having me. Happy 10th anniversary, Aladdin. That's insane to me to be even thinking about that. But I'm so proud to have been a part of this show, and to have been a part of this family of people. Thank you again.
I have so many great memories from my time in Seattle in the 2011 production of Aladdin. I remember trying on my costume for the first time and just putting on that cape and just feeling the weight of it, and just the, you know, the royalty, the regalness of being Prince Ali. We had the purple feather on the hats, which eventually got cut because of lighting purposes, and but that was fun for a little bit. I was, you know, playing with that and making choices with it. But yeah, I mean, it was just such a magical time. We were creating the show. We were all young kids just having fun, doing sightseeing in Seattle. And I remember July 4th, we all getting together, and Andrew Keenan Bolger filming this epic like battle. I don't know. We were just having fun. One funny thing in the show, I remember riding the carpet and discovering as it was going up and down, because we were on a hydraulic lift in Seattle. We called it Mattress on a Stick. And as it was coming down at the end of A Whole New World, I distinctly remember singing A Whole New World, because it would hit like this little bump. That's where we'll be. And it would just like, every time it would telescope in and come down to the ground, it was just a battle every time. But, you know, Disney did the right thing. They worked out those kinks, and they did it in Toronto and Seattle, and figured out all the things we needed to do to make it the smashing success that it is now. So I'm grateful, obviously, to Disney, and just to have that opportunity to originate a dream role. So thank you.
Hi, this is Sean Griffin, and I had the privilege of being the first actor to play the Sultan in Disney's Aladdin. It was the world premiere here in Seattle at the Fifth Avenue Theater. And I've got to tell you, today it's 110 degrees in Seattle, and it feels more like Agrabah. Anyway, I have fond memories of that production, working with Casey Nicolau, who is so fantastic, and a cast that was just terrific. But you're probably asking, or at least some people were asking, how come an old Irishman ended up in Agrabah? Well, every role that I have played, I have a backstory for each one. And the backstory for the Sultan was, there was a young Irish guy who was about 16 years old, and he always wanted to travel the world. So he left Ireland on a boat, and about 3 years later ended up in Agrabah, and actually ended up in the marketplace where he met this gorgeous princess and fell madly in love with her, and etc., etc., etc. And they had a beautiful child named Jasmine. So he stayed there the rest of his life, because why go back to Ireland when you can live in Agrabah? Great weather, right? Anyway, I'm so happy that the show is still running after 10 years, and I'm sure there'll be another 10 after this. So I wish you all well, take care, and stay cool.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Aladdin is turning 10. I can't believe it. It feels like just yesterday we were at the Fifth Avenue in Seattle getting ready to start the very first production of Aladdin. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I am currently in Wisconsin on a lake, living my best life. I gotta say, what is one of my favorite memories from Aladdin? Sorry, there's bugs. Call Me a Princess. For those of you that don't know Call Me a Princess, that was Jasmine's cut song. from the movie that I think Alan Menken and Howard Ashman wrote together that didn't make the movie, and then they brought it back. Well, Alan Menken brought it back for the production in Seattle and was hoping to make it work for Broadway, but oh, she never worked, honey. And she was cut, and These Palace Walls was born. But the trials and tribulations of getting Call Me a Princess to work was like hilarious. At one point I was wearing pillows around my waist and feathers out of my head and to look ridiculous. But really that was such a strong team of people, and I'm really it just brings me such fond memories when I think about it. Rehearsals in the basement and doing the show upstairs, man. That was a great spot. That was good memories. What am I up to now? I am getting ready to launch Disney Princess the concert with my princess posse in November. I'll be on that for the first leg of the tour, and then I will be doing something very exciting after, which is a secret that I can't talk about yet. So exciting stuff though. Well, happy anniversary, Aladdin. I can't believe it. Happy birthday.
Hi, my name is Darryl Rivera. I originated the role of Iago in 2011 in the Seattle production of Disney's Aladdin, and I went on to originate the role on Broadway in 2014. One of my favorite memories of putting Aladdin together actually comes shortly after we close the Seattle production. It's February of 2012. I'm in Minneapolis. I'm about to close the show there, and I'm about to go home because I'm getting married in a few weeks, when I got a packet in the mail from Disney Theatrical asking if I could come to New York to help put together a presentation of Aladdin for Bob Iger. Also in this packet is a bundle of sheet music for a brand new song for Jafar and Iago called Running the Show, as well as a demo CD of Alan Menken actually singing and playing the song. I remember thinking, I've never been to New York before, so this is like the perfect opportunity to go to New York. But also, I'm about to get married in a few weeks, so I called my wife, my fiance at the time, and I said, I know I'm supposed to come home next week, but Disney wants me to come to New York, and they want me to help put this presentation together. And she said, yes, of course, go. We'll be fine. So fast forward a little bit of time. I'm in New York for the very first time ever. It's literally my first day in New York. And I'm walking through the stage door of the Foxwoods Theater. That's where Spider-Man was playing. It's now called the Lyric Theater. It's where Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is playing, which is right across the street from the New Amsterdam Theater where Aladdin is playing. And the elevator doors open, and inside is Alan Menken. And he goes, Dawn! And runs up to me and gives me the biggest, warmest hug. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, Alan Menken is hugging me. He said, go upstairs. Everyone's already there. I'll be up in a second. So I go up in the elevator up to the rehearsal halls of the Foxwoods Theater. And I walk in, and inside is our brilliant director, Casey Nicola, the genius music director, Michael Kozerin, and the incredible, amazing Jonathan Freeman, who played Jafar in Seattle, who also voiced Jafar in the film and went on to play Jafar on Broadway. And Ellen comes back up, and he sits at the piano, and he starts playing the song, and Michael Kozerin is giving us direction and, teaching us the music, and Casey is giving us adjustments and giving us motivation, and we're all just having the best time. And I look over at Jonathan Freeman, and he has the biggest smile on his face, and I remember thinking, whose life is this? This is literally my first day in New York. I'm in a Broadway rehearsal hall learning a brand new song for what could be part of Disney's brand new smash hit Broadway musical. And it was just a day I will never, ever, ever forget. Fast forward to 2013, the end of 2013, and we do the pre-Broadway tryout of Aladdin in Toronto, and we open Aladdin on Broadway in 2014. Fast forward to 2021, rehearsals start from today, literally today, in 40 days. And I cannot wait to put on my costume and my spiky shoes and step on stage at the New Amsterdam Theater and make everyone laugh again. I'm so looking forward to that, and I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited for the cast and the crew, and especially for our audiences, because there's nothing more magical than live theater. So I am so excited for Broadway to reopen, especially Aladdin.
Hey everybody, Brandon O'Neill, the original Kassim from the Seattle production and Broadway. I am coming to you today from my desert yurt inside of a winery. Let's see if you guys can see that. I'm at the Cave Bee Winery in Washington State, in the middle of the state where people think that there's nothing here. There's a gorgeous winery, and the owner of this winery has written a piece of theater, and we performed it for an audience for the first time last night, world premiere, and the first time I have performed and heard laughs from an audience in over a year and a half. It is, I'm just feeling really grateful. And, God, to think about 10 years going by since we did Aladdin in Seattle, I felt like such a boy. And I mean, I look exactly the same except for this beard showing my age after 10 years. And I think there's a lot of us in this position from that production. And this is not, I'm not ashamed. I'm a grown man. I have 2 grown boys. And, I feel like I could maybe play the Sultan now. This is not a pitch to play the Sultan. Casey. Scotty. Casey. But, I don't know. I'm overcome with gratitude. And the memories are overwhelming. There are shows that change your perspective, like the one that I'm doing now. And there are shows that change your life. And Aladdin was one of those shows. And people don't know that I was supposed to not be able to do that show at all. I'd booked another show. I'd booked my very first lead in a musical. I was playing Sky Masterson in Guys and Dolls. It was going to tour to St. Paul, and those dates were booked. I was booked. And I didn't want to give up that show. It was the very first time I was a lead in a musical, ever, in my career. But I was devastated when I heard that Aladdin was coming to town, to my town, and I couldn't audition. So I contacted the casting director, who was a friend, and I was like, what can I do? And he said, well, why don't you just be the reader in the room so that you can at least be seen by the Disney people. Casey Nichola's in the room, Kaz is in the room, and we can, I don't know, at least make a relationship. So maybe down the line, if you get to audition, they'll know who you are, and I don't know. So I jumped on it. I was like, absolutely, yes, I'll do that. So for 4 days, I sat in on the auditions of everybody from the Seattle area that came to audition for that show, hundreds of people. And I read as Jafar, I read as the Sultan, I read as Aladdin, as Genie, Babkak, Omar, Kassim. I read as Jasmine. And apparently that was the thing that booked me, reading the Jasmine lines. This is what Casey tells me. He says it was when you did that with just, you didn't try to overdo it. You just did it truthfully, like a child would to their dad. And so anyway, 4 days later, after all these auditions are done, I was asked to leave the room. And when I came back, the team was kind of all staring at me, and they said, we've asked the Fifth Avenue if we can audition you for this show. And I was freaking out, super nervous. So I sang a song. I sang Luck Be a Lady from Guys and Dolls, which is not appropriate for Aladdin, but it was a song that was, in my head, and I had to just jump on an audition opportunity. Did that, then they had me come out to a dance call. Did not nail it, but I like to say that I'm failing here, winning here, so I just kept a smile on my face, and I really did enjoy the shot. And I booked the show, and that, I mean, it's hard to even put into words what it's done for my life. I made my Broadway debut because of that. I made my West End debut because of that. I made my debut in a Disney film because of that. And I'm still, you know, still involved in the family that is Aladdin and will always be a family. And I just feel incredibly lucky. And I realized as I'm sitting here, literally as I'm sitting here prepping for this video, that I have my monkey fist in my toiletry bag. This is the original from Broadway. I made these. And that happened, that started with Greg Barnes in Seattle. I brought this idea to him that we would all have something that tied us together, the four of us. And it was a shout out to Abu the monkey. This is a monkey fist knot. And you know, I brought it to him and he loved it. He loved it. So in celebration, I decided I would wear a deeper V than a grown man should be wearing, and I would put on my little Aladdin monkey fist, and in celebration of that show and all the things that it means to me. So happy 10th anniversary, guys and gals. I'm still I just love every single one of you, and hope that this year brings you magic, like that show brought to me so many years ago. And you know, as we return to theater, I hope that you can re-find your love and re-find your confidence. You know, it's beat us up pretty bad in this business. And just know that I'm loving you guys and wishing the best for you. All right. Kassim out. Street Rats on 3. 1, 2, 3. Street Rats!